Welcome to 0 to 60.
I'm Matt McChesney. I am the owner and operator of 6-0 Football Academy and 6-0 Equipment. Played at the University of Colorado from 2004. 6 years in the National Football League on both sides of football.
I'm Matt McChesney. This is 0 to 60. That is Coach Prime. We are at the University of Colorado. Brother, thank you so much.
All right. 0 to 60. We're rolling. All right, man. We are rolling, man. I'm excited. It's good to be back. Welcome to 0 to 60 on the Believe Network. I'm your host, as always, Matt McChesney. My man Bailey's going to be joining us here as a co-host, consigliere here moving forward. He's going to be producing the show. You know Bailey from Coach JB's show. He is awesome. He's put together a great rundown for us today. I'm excited to get him on here in a second. We will have all the regular guests and all the regular stuff of the show moving forward. Bree will be on, of course, whenever she can be. But we will be interviewing still, but the format of the show is going to change a little bit with Bailey running the ones and the twos and, me answering as many questions as I can. The comments are open. The subs are open. The super chats are open. Nick needs shoes. Get moving. We appreciate everybody that's going to be, involved with the show. Remember, you can go and subscribe and like it on YouTube. Go check it out on Twitch and subscribe there as well. The show is going to be going Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and it's going to be going at 4 p.m. Mountain, 6 p.m. Eastern, which gives you an opportunity to really, listen to it on your way home and get involved and splits up the day a little bit. I'll be on Coach JB's show, my man Bailey and Big Schmitty on Monday mornings and Friday mornings during the football season moving forward. And really, man, everything's on the table to talk about, on Mondays and Fridays. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, it's all Buffs. Mondays and Fridays, we're going to talk about the world and what's going on and, the state of the NFL and blah, 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 blah. College football, obviously. But on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're going to talk nothing but Colorado Buffaloes. Now, today's a little bit different as it is our first show back in about a month. Remember, you can go on Spotify and check everything out. The Believe Network is our home, and they do a great job. Let's pay some bills right off the bat before we get going there. Bet Online is our title sponsor. They have been since day one, and they do a great job. They're the number one source for all of your betting needs this season, especially with that lull between, the end of basketball and hockey and football season where it's just baseball. You can really go in and find the best odds on baseball, golf, soccer, and your top fights in the UFC and the MMA, and, of course, boxing. Every stat, every matchup, everything you need to make an educated bet and try and win yourself some coin is right there at Bet Online. They do an unbelievable job of supporting their clientele, not just trying to bank off of them. They want you to make money. Look, you can also, when you're done, gambling on sports, if you do like to, yell a little monkey, 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 you can go play a little online 21, a little blackjack. You can go to 150 slot games, go test your luck there. Bet Online is the number one source for all of your sporting needs. And if you go use the promo code BLEAV, that's BLEAV, you will get a 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. That's a pretty good deal. Bet Online, the game starts here and we roll. So my man Bailey is going to come on. You know Bailey from Coach JB's show with Big Schmitty that I'm on so much. Bailey is now the producer of 0 to 60. He'll be working hand in hand with me and Bree and everybody else involved. But I'm really excited to have my man Bailey on. Bailey, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. And, of course, now you are going to take that moniker. So now you welcome me to the show, and let's get this fucking rolling.
Matt, man, I'm honored to be here, man. Welcome to the show, man, 0 to 60. Monday and Fridays, NFL, college football, and, real life stuff. Tuesday, Thursday, all Buffs, man. But I'm honored to be here, man. I can't thank you enough, man. It's going to be great. But, man, over the weekend, man, huge news. Donald Trump, you see him on stage here. You probably already saw this video, but and someone shot at him, man. 20-year-old kid shot at him. And let me ask you, Matt, just, your initial reaction. And also let me ask you, whose fault is this? How does this allow to happen to a former president? You know what I'm saying? In 2024, the security levels we have. Let me get your take.
Bro, look, we talked about this a little bit on Coach's show this morning. Obviously, Saturday when this happened, I was here with Bree and watching it, and my boys were here, and it was emotional, dog. Like, I'm at 42 years old, loving my country, in a very patriotic family, lots of military, lots of, we bleed the colors of this flag. I'm very independent when it comes to politics. I'm very in the middle. Like, I vote with my heart. If I'm inspired, if I think that guy or girl is going to do a good job, I'm going to vote for that guy or girl. I don't really give a shit about Republican, Democrat. And now it's so divided, and it's so crazy to me that violence is it's not only just happening, it's being, it's being like pushed. The media pushes it and then acts like they don't. The divisiveness is being stoked. It's constantly being stoked. And I majored in history at the University of Colorado, and it's something that's always intrigued me. And you're definitely doomed to repeat yourself, historically as a society if you don't learn from it. And it seems to me like we always fight about the same couple of problems. It's always abortion and guns and certain voting rights and immigration, right? And then it's the same problems on a rotating scale. Usually it's in states where the battlegrounds happen, but now it's on a national level where these, not only is it being dictated to the state level, but it's being stoked at the national level by both sides of the party because they're using the tool of social media. I despise social media, bro. I just hate technology. I feel like it just brings out the worst in people, but it's at the tip of your fingers. Back in the day when the last time a president's been shot at was 1981, I was a baby. Mm-hmm. That's the year I was born. That was Ronald Reagan. So that happened, and you had to hear it on the news, hear it hearsay, or read it in the newspaper. The reaction's different.
Right.
There wasn't as much decisiveness where you're talking about civil war and shit. Now you've got a former president that when he left January 6th and everything that happened and wherever you stand on that, he left under questionable circumstances where they're questioning the election and everything's questioned these days. And I can't help but do that. I'm sure that you do the same. Right. So for it to be at this point where you've got one presidential candidate in Joe Biden that doesn't seem to know where he's at, and I'm not trying to joke, but he's like, he embarrassed me. He's embarrassing. Like, you're embarrassing. For the left to not even be able to acknowledge the fact that it was an assassination attempt, like being from Denver and living here, shame on the Denver Post. Shame on you. Shame on the fucking Denver Post for the way, like, you're the man, Bailey, for the way that they did this. Gunman dies in attack. How about ex-president, future president Donald Trump survives assassination attempt, gets up and throws the fucking black power fist in the air and says, fuck the black state, fuck the dark state, fuck all the people on both sides that don't think I can do this. Fight, come together and fight. And look, that's really what I want this to become, not civil war. Mm-hmm. Like, come together against them. They want us to fight each other. That takes the scope off of them. Mm-hmm. It's the crooked politicians and the dark state, or whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. But it's there, it's real, and they're trying to take Trump out. I would not be surprised at all if Biden dies of natural causes. Like, I'm just saying, it's gotten also to the point where you have to be careful what you say. Mm-hmm. Because this is some real tricky shit, and it's very scary. And having kids that are military age, nothing good can come from this. So a lot of people think it was staged. I don't think that's ridiculous, but I do think it was an inside job. I don't think you can be this incompetent at that level of national security and or police, security execution by the snipers. I read an article where the sniper that was on the roof said that he had the dude in his sights for 2 minutes, but couldn't get the okay to fire. I don't think you should need the okay to fire at that point. You just got to make a judgment call. He's got a rifle pointed at the president. But look, I will say this: both sides, extremists, scare the shit out of me. Okay, I'm very gray, independently on the political spectrum.
Yeah.
The hardcore religious right scares the shit out of me. The radical, psycho, pronoun left scares the shit out of me. And I'm not saying I sit in the corner with a Jason mask on. Their rhetoric, how they talk, it's scary, bro. And it's it gets to the point where I'm looking at my children and I'm trying to make sure they don't get indoctrinated by the crazies on either side. It's a very touchy situation because of all that. But if you're one of these people that is happy, I'm so disappointed in Jack Black, a guy that I love Tenacious D, and but for him to come out and say that at a concert and have Kyle Gass say that, maybe next time they shouldn't miss, dog, that shit makes my fucking blood boil. How dare you? If you're one of these people in the country that think that, Trump surviving an assassination attempt is a bad thing, please fucking leave.
Yeah.
Canada's taken open registration. Go. Look, I'm sorry, but don't tread on me some people are like, oh, that's a racist statement. Everything's fucking racist these days. Give me a break. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. That is not what it is. But that was when President Trump took a bullet to the ear and stood up and put his fists in the air and told people to fight. He's not urging for civil war. That is what it means to be an American right there. That's what I expect from an American leader. You shoot at me and I live, and I get up and say, fuck you, you missed. Come back and get more. We don't run. We don't cower. He stood up in the face of adversity and tyranny and said that fuck you. And that is inspiring. And I know he's not a good dude and he's got a ton of flaws. He wasn't running for president the first 65 years of his life or whatever. To be honest with you, with all this fucking money, all these problems and all the indictments, they wouldn't be there if he wasn't running for president. The Democrats are using the government as a weapon against him. If Biden even knows what he's doing. But he's not running shit anyway. He's a puppet. This entire situation and politics are a really tricky subject. I know this is going to get the comment section going. Good. Conversation is necessary and we need it. Shooting at each other is unnecessary. We can't have it. You do not want war on the streets. It is not a fucking video game. It will be in the backyard. It will be in your house. Civil war is a war against your brother. It is not something you want. If you are a parent, you need to be really, really careful how you speak to your kids about this. They're the future. This is a very, very slippery slope. And if we're not careful, we're going to slide down this motherfucker and be looking up at the hill and go, man, how do we fuck this up? Just like every other, incredibly successful civilization before us that have fucked this up. We're real close to people shooting at each other over political ideology and shit. So,
yeah. Let me ask you,
this wouldn't be a civil war to stop slavery or genocide or free a people. This would be a opinion war where your opinion and the way you live pisses me off, so I'm going to kill you. That is fucking crazy. That is crazy as fuck. And it's because of the access everyone has to each other all the time. Yeah. Everyone's all in everyone's business because everyone's got a cell phone and it's just rampant. So, I mean, fuck, man. Personally, I wouldn't mind if the internet goes down. Just chop the fucking internet grid, and I bet you the problems go away pretty quick.
I'm young, and I agree with you, man. And let me ask you: you have two. You said you have military age children. I'm 21 years old, military age.
Yeah, you're military age, homie.
Yeah, exactly. And let me ask you: had something had happened, where do you think we're at today? JB kind of touched on it, kind of asked you a little bit. Yep. But what does that mean to you, having kids that age, man?
Well, look, I come from a proud family that served. So part of me is serve your country. but that's not serving your country. Like a civil war is a civil war. That's something different. Everyone's fighting.
Right.
If you're talking about my kids being drafted, which is a lot of people are talking about civil war, I think we're more apt to be in a ground war with somebody based on the instability. Like this is, think about this. When you have internal fighting and instability, your enemy sees that and goes, they're weak. They're fighting amongst each other. Now we can hit them. Now we can hit them with terror attacks or cyber attacks, or like, that's the way I'm thinking right now. Is like, when's the next shoe going to drop against us that's not us, right? We're already harming ourselves at a monumental level, but now our enemies see this and it looks weak, and it is weak. When I look at that, and essentially you're going to say my kids are going to be drafted, because I'm not going to tell them they can't enlist if they want to, but I'm going to say this: if you want to be a soldier, go be a Special Forces, Navy SEAL, Army Ranger, bat motherfucker. Go do it at the highest level. Don't go be just no offense, but a bullet catcher. Like, don't go, because that's where this is going. World War III is going to be pretty brutal. World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. So, like, think about that for a second. So, if they want to enlist, I'm not going to tell them they cannot, because I think that serving your country, there's nothing more honorable. I come from a long line of people in my family, and pretty much every man served. And we're active in the war zone, and like didn't talk about it, and I didn't ask. And it was a couple conversations, and you knew it was real. It scares the shit out of me. I don't want my boys involved in it. If they want to get involved down the road and serve, that's on them. But if the government comes knocking and goes, hey, we're going to take your kids and send them to Taiwan to defend China, I'm going to be like, fuck you, you are. Yeah. That will start civil unrest faster than this. You start drafting people's kids and sending them somewhere else, and people that aren't just signing up for the military to serve, you're going to have a massive problem. I don't think it's not the same as the generation coming from World War II that had their kids drafted into Vietnam. It's not the same. It was a totally different circumstance, number one. And number two, those kids grew up idolizing their fathers who were World War II veterans. It was a different feeling in the country. Right. It's not the same now. So, yeah, man, that scares the shit out of me. I don't know really how I would cross that bridge. It would have to be, I think it would have to be something that would need a plan. Like, we got to talk about that.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because I think running for the hills, though, is wrong, too.
Yeah.
If you're drafted, you don't run to Canada or Mexico. I don't know, man, but I also respect the fuck out of like Muhammad Ali for the stance that he took when he didn't go fight in Vietnam. I thought he was right. So this is again the problem. There's two sides to everything.
Yeah, and I think, man, people my age, I mean, at least from what I saw, when you see Trump stand up with blood on his face, go like that, I mean, I was like, man, that is what you at least want to see. Yeah, inspiring is what you want to see out of your leader.
Fuck yeah, you think Joe Biden can't ride a bike, bro? Come on. So that was the Bailey, bro, and everyone listening. I mean, look, that was the first time in my life I've ever been inspired by a political leader, ever. My entire life, I've just looked at them like I was either too young, or when I started figuring out, I was like 15 years old or whatever, and the president's getting blown by Monica Lewinsky and denying it. Like, that's the first thing about the president I really remember is this guy's fucking this ditch pig Monica Lewinsky. And just to lighten it up a little bit. But I mean, that's my first memory of a president. And then we went from Clinton to fucking the biggest remedial in the history of remedials for presidents. The fucking like a Scooby-Doo caricature and George Bush II. Yeah. He was terrible. Just totally lying his ass off, just like, we're going to get in a war with them and them and them and them and them. And then I thought Obama was good. I know some of his policies may not align with what I'm talking about, but again, very gray. Right. I voted for Obama twice. I didn't want somebody associated with George Bush's regime running the country still at that point, because he had just been such a fucking little scumbag.
Right.
I don't know if Obama did a good job or a bad job. I kind of regret voting for him because Biden wouldn't be the VP if he wouldn't have been the president.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a little bit of or Biden wouldn't be president now if he wasn't the VP. Excuse me.
Yeah, I hear you.
I voted for Trump. I can't vote for another Clinton. They're the shadiest. I'm going to say this. So if I die in a car wreck in 3 days or whatever, if I'm dead in a week, it's because of the Clintons. They're the shadiest group of most. They have people killed constantly. Like the Clintons are not fucking around. They're the mafia in the political garb. And then, I thought that the Trump-Biden election was a farce. I thought the pandemic was a big driving force in trying to set a reset.
Yeah.
I know that's going to piss some people off too. I don't really give a shit. It's going into now 5 years later, if you can't look at that and realize how much of a clusterfuck it was and how bad it was handled and everything, then I don't really know what to tell you. I think it was used as a way to try to get rid of Donald too. The political questions, the voting rigging, all of it, bro. It's just almost too much to handle. And you don't want to talk about it too much and overextend yourself because it's so in-depth and political. It's like a science. That's why it's political science. So, you don't want to overextend yourself when you don't know what you're talking about either. So, at a point, you reach your fucking mental capacity on talking about all this crazy shit. And that's also the way they want it. That's why they make everything so goddamn difficult.
Right.
So, that was pretty monumental. I've never seen a president get shot at before. So, I couldn't believe it happened. And
it's very unfortunate. And I mean,
what the fuck? What was the security doing, dog?
And that's the other thing I wanted to ask you. How do you allow this? Secret security, that's your number one job, is to keep them safe.
But they did defund his Secret Service, I think it was in his first term or something like that. Maybe they defunded it now. I'm not really sure what and this is what I'm talking about. I can't remember the exact specifications to it, but the failure and the breakdown with law enforcement, the lack of coordination between all the parties, some guy walking up to a cop, multiple gentlemen walking up to cops and saying there's a dude on the roof with a gun, do something. At that point, it's like the citizen needs, bro, there's a dude on the roof with a gun. If the cop's not going to do anything, that's the president.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but go at least fucking try and figure this out and make more of a ruckus than just he's up there. Oh, we're not going to do anything. Oh, fuck it. I understand you told the guy, but you didn't tell him that fucking hard. If he didn't do anything as a cop and the guy told him there was a dude up there with a gun and they didn't do anything, you didn't tell him hard enough.
Exactly.
Why'd you just be like, hey, there's a guy up there that looks like he's got a BB gun? They would freak out over that. No, he's up there with a fucking rifle. He's taking shots at Donald Trump. And if the cop's just like, oh, well, we'll figure it out. No, motherfucker, didn't move him. They're shooting at the president. This dude's up there fucking reloading. So I think that the security detail, the cops, everybody involved it's awful, awful, awful. Look, Donald, restock, homie. You need to spend some of that fucking dough and go hire yourself some just bad motherfuckers, some just mercenaries, bro. I want the meanest, cruelest, fucking under control psychopaths in the world next to Donald protecting him. Because look, if you don't have the ability to be violent and protect, I'm not saying be aggressive and attack, but be violent in a protection mode and then be ultra vicious in that mode. As mans, especially in this country, it makes me question you. You can't protect yourself. How can you protect anyone else? And I'm sorry, but the caveman theory of life it's coming back into play now. You got to know how to protect yourself these days in this country. They are taking shots at Donald. Anybody's a target if they're taking shots at the president.
Facts.
So
I agree.
I don't know, man. I wish that the Democrats could come up with a fucking candidate that I could just Kamala or fucking Gavin Newsom or Biden. Come on, dog. Next. So I really like Dan Crenshaw from Texas. I hope one day that he gets involved with the presidential races and whatnot. But I don't know. We got a leadership problem in this country. But at least look, Big Don is fucking. He's holding the torch, dog. He's like, I'm trying. I wish we could just find some people around him. That's leadership right there. He may not be the best guy, and I know certain people are going to get angry at me for my opinion on this. But you know what? It inspired me, and regardless of his past and certain things that may itch people the wrong way, no one's fucking perfect, and everyone's got a pass. So let's move on. But bro, it's crazy fucking crazy weekend.
Yeah, unbelievable, man. And last thing I wanted to ask you before we move on to sports, so everyone listening, we're getting into sports. Matt, do you think that seals the election for him?
Oh, what?
Yeah.
He was already running away with it because the other guy can't talk.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
But this is going. How can you vote for the Democrats?
Yeah, I agree with
now,
you.
As a father and a business owner and an American, I can't do it, dog. You can't. I'm sorry, but it ain't. Nope. Yeah. And especially with now a lot of that party advocating for him to actually be murdered. So they're saying that he shouldn't have been missed and like making a joke out of it. Correct. Now I went from like not liking your politics to not liking you. So fuck you if that's the way you think. You're a fucking piece of shit and you should get your ass out of this country. If you think that it's a good thing they missed and you have the audacity to put it on social media or even talk about it publicly, don't say it to me. You're not going to get the politically correct response you think you're going to get anymore from me.
Right.
You fucking cowards. This is the end of that shit. If I don't like the way you are or what you're doing, and I feel like you're going to negatively influence my children or my way of life or anything, you're going to fucking hear about it from me from now on. This shit is all this fucking emotional trash has ended. It is fucking over. The war on political correctness, you can take that and throw it out with the fucking bathwater, homie. It is on right now. So just one of you fucking libtards out there come at me be like, oh, I'm glad they missed. You are a fucking coward piece of shit. Get your shit, get the fuck out of this country. You're a piece of shit. Fact. I don't care if you don't like it either. That's a fucking fact and the truth. And then go and fucking send some emails and file you a lawsuit. I'll fucking buy you a wardrobe and smile in the courtroom. Fuck you.
Exactly. Hey, man, I agree. And that's a really, really difficult subject. And, we have to talk about it. It's the biggest thing in the world right now. But before we get into some sports, Matt, I mean, we just saw you today on Coach JB's show for the first time in a couple of months. I know you've been taking some heat from Colorado fans, your alumnus this offseason, but I wanted to show you I wanted to show the fans some receipts. This is from
receipts.
Yeah, some receipts. This is from October 26th, 2023. You and Jeff Nadeau had a little altercation, but you said some stuff that, going into the season with Colorado could look to be very true. Take a listen here.
I just know more about this team than all three of you motherfuckers combined, period. And I've been there and I understand what I'm looking at. And I don't think they're as bad as you guys do. And it's more than just betting lines and fucking bullshit in your fucking ear. So when they do go to a bowl game, and next year when they're nationally ranked and Shador's a Heisman candidate and Travis, and they're killing people because they've fucking turned over the transfer portal again, I wonder how this tune's going to sit.
Receipt.
Receipt.
All these receipts. These receipts are coming, son.
Yeah. Stay tuned because there will be more. You best believe. But, Matt, I just wanted to ask you, going into this season, we haven't heard your take in a while. Calling Colorado, man, we are six Saturdays away from college football, man. And, you got North Dakota State week 1. I just wanted to hear where your mind's at in Colorado for Colorado football and what you're thinking headed into the season, what your thoughts are on Colorado.
But, like always on 0 to 60, we try and push the envelope here. So every Tuesday and Thursday is going to be nothing but buffs. But good question. Look, we've taken a month off. It's the dead part of the summer, so it's the best time to take a month off. I really like what I'm seeing. I do. I think that the promotion of Coach Lewis to the D-line coach, I played with Coach at the Rams. We were in the same defensive line room together. He's a good dude. I talked to him up at camp. That's a good move. Having Warren Sapp there, great move. It's when I was up there at camp and I got to be around all the offensive and defensive linemen, they look so much different. They're huge. I mean, the offensive line is massive. And they're just recruiting some fucking just brick shit houses out here. Guys that are just right. And that's what you need, bro. Like I need me some Andre Gerard and Victor Rogers and some Josh Bates or some Justin Bates is out there. I need some huge individuals, right? Some Tom Ashworth. So that's what I'm seeing right now. I'm seeing professional bodies. Now, are they going to be able to play at the level we want them to? I don't see how they can't. The skill players are too good. Shador, like I've been saying since literally day one, bro. Day one that this happened. Shador is going to be one of the top players off the board in his position when he's a senior. And, bro, he's the number one quarterback in this class. He's the highest ranked quarterback on the game. He's a bad motherfucker, and you can't say he's not. Travis Hunter is the best two-way player I've ever seen, ever. I think he's going to win the Heisman. Mm-hmm. I think Travis Hunter will win the Heisman because I think CU is going to be pretty damn good. Now, we can talk about their schedule. I don't know if you have their schedule or not, but if you have a graphic for it, we can put it up and just start. We can make the prediction right now if you'd like, or we can do it later in the week. But regardless of like the predictions and what we're going to do this year, I'll tell you a little bit about some of it. The offensive line looks way different. Okay, they're big, they're athletic. Jordan Seaton is an absolute animal at left tackle, and he's only a freshman. Having Brown eligible is an incredible up boost. Zelinkus, the kid from Cherry Creek, his brother was also a really good player. That's a Colorado tip of the spear. And I've been asking for, like, hey, we need to have a little bit of Colorado blood out there. That's the tip of the spear. That's the leader of the offensive line, young guy. He's a pro. If Zelinkus stays on the course he's on and healthy, he's a 10, 12-year pro at that position. Great player. I love that kid. And then the right side, I love what they did in the transfer portal. So I think the offensive line stuff's figured out, and they have depth. Okay. Right. And then around that, the defense, it's going to be on the defensive line. Okay. I played 3 technique there. When we are good on the defensive line, they are going to win football games because then you can rush the passer and you can stop the run. And the Big 12, they're spread, but they hammer the ball. I mean, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, they are not fucking around. They are going vertical at you. Baylor is going to run the hell out of the football. Oh, yeah. Nebraska is going to line up and run the hell out of the football. CSU is going to try and bloody our nose. So that's going to be what it is. Like I think the offensive line is going to be really good, actually. I think the offense puts up minimum 28, 30 points a game. I think they're going to be unstoppable. Like the people around Travis Hunter, who's the kid that came from Vanderbilt? I can't remember his name. I think that's the big receiver. He's an unbelievable player. Horn's a great player. I know that we've had turnover on the backfield at running back position, but again, there's a reason why in the NFL there's so much turnover in the running back room because you can find running backs just about anywhere. Charlie Offerall goes on fucking scholarship. That mustache is amazing. Shake that caterpillar, Charlie. But that's a great move too. He's going to be a good piece. I feel like they just have pieces, and the transfer portal has been kind to them. Coach Prime has come in and he's now in year 2. He knows exactly what he wants, and he knows this is the thing. Everyone in that building knows this is the last hurrah. Not like last time you're going to play football. The last time they're all together. Mm-hmm. When I was a senior at CU, I wasn't worried about never playing football again like some other guys. I knew I was going to the NFL. I knew, though, it was the last time I was ever going to play with Klatt and the last time with Wilder and Purify and, all my boys that I've been out, the Vickers and everybody that I've been bleeding with.
Right.
It's the last time you get to go out there with your boys because college and the NFL is so much different. Mm-hmm. That said, this is true family. You've got your father's the head coach. His family and Shador's family and Shiloh's family is wrapped, interwoven into the facility and the media department everywhere. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, you've got your extended NFL family and your college football family that's part of it. Everybody knows this is the last hurrah. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that Coach Prime won't be the head coach there. He probably will be. I don't think he's going to leave. I used to think he would. I've kind of changed my tune on that a little bit. Mm. I don't think he'll leave after this season. I think he'll keep building because he's building something special.
Right.
I do think, though, that everyone in that building knows Shador, Travis Hunter, Shiloh, Coach Prime, everyone knows this is literally our last chance to solidify this group because they're either going to be 9-3, 10-2, playing for the Big 12, chance to go to the playoff. And Shador and Travis Hunter are Heisman candidates. We're going to talk about that in a second. Don't go anywhere. They're Heisman candidates, and this is the most unbelievable season in recent history for CU, and they have a chance to actually win a conference championship, and they got first-round talent everywhere, and blah, 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 blah. That's either the storyline or they really underachieved because even in my opinion, when you have the best skill player in the country, when you have Charles Woodson 2.0 and he's better than Chuck, and the best quarterback in the country, 6-6 even isn't even good enough.
Yeah.
So I believe that the University of Colorado is destined for greatness this year. And let's talk about the schedule real quick.
Mm-hmm.
North Dakota State. All right. This is national TV on Thursday night. I'm having flashbacks of Fresno State in 2001, where they just came. We were supposed to kill them in the Jim Thorpe Classic, and they beat us. And it was one of our only losses that year, and it essentially kept us out of the national title.
Right.
Now, I know that there's going to be a ton of money rolling on North Dakota State for this upset, and people want to see it. I know that everybody out there that wants to see CU lose wants this game to fall, but I just don't see it happening.
Mm-hmm.
North Dakota State will give them a run. They'll probably put a lot of rushing yards on us, and that will be a point of emphasis going into Nebraska, which is a good thing. If you can go out and beat up North Dakota State, but they still run the ball on us and we have something to teach off of and get better on, that gives you an advantage going into Lincoln. So I'm not saying they're going to go out and kill them. I don't think that that's going to happen. This is going to be a struggle. They are FBS killers, bro. They go into D1 buildings all the time and win. But I do think that CU will handle them in the second half. Our skill positions are too good for them to run with us, number one. And look, if the offensive and defensive lines can do what I think they can do next year with better coaching and better players, I don't think you'll have a problem with North Dakota State. So you start 1-0 in Lincoln. All right, week 2, the 7:30 kickoff on CBS. This is going to be an absolute war of a football game. Nebraska hasn't beat Colorado in years. All right, and that's, I'd say, look, I'm so proud to say that. I was at the last game in Lincoln. It was insane to win. I've got a bunch of stuff, the fight song after the game and whatnot. It was so lit. But LaVisca caught a touchdown over his shoulder in the right-hand corner in Memorial to win the game, and then defense stopped them, and that was crazy. And then the next year's the flea flicker, and then they take 2 years off. And then last year was just a fucking absolute ass kicking. My sons and I were in 101. We were talking shit. It was awesome. Look, this rivalry's turned. I know historically they got our number. I get it, but this isn't the 80s anymore. All right, this ain't the 90s no more. So since 2001, when we beat the bricks off of their ass, we got the advantage, and we need to keep it. And there's nothing better than, I think, they go to Lincoln and win, and then that's 4 in a row, and they don't play again for a while, and the Nebraska people can suck on it. But this, when Shador Sanders says things like, we're everybody's Super Bowl, if you don't think that this is Nebraska's fucking Super Bowl in week 2, you are high off your ass. I want to go hang out with you for July 4th. Like, what are you talking? This is the biggest game in Nebraska. They've got big games in Lincoln, obviously. They're in the Big Ten. They're playing Michigan and Ohio State and shit. They've got huge games. This is an old rival that spit in your face, beat the shit out of you last year. You haven't beaten a long time. They hate us anyway because they ain't us. But there's legit hatred between the fan bases. I have a ton of respect for the University of Nebraska, but I don't really like them that much. After the game's over, we can be in a business relationship, but right now it's wartime on that ass. Mm-hmm. So I think that CU goes to Lincoln and gets a huge dub there as well. So there's 2-0. Mm-hmm. Now, this one, the at Colorado State. All right. Now, obviously, I'm not going to pick CU to lose because fuck CSU. I have respect for Nebraska. I despise Colorado State. Mm-hmm. I don't respect them. I don't like them. You're my little brother. Go be a fucking agriculture major. Stick your hand up the ass of a camel to get your degree. I'm done. I don't like them. They don't like me. I don't like them. Fuck them.
Mm-hmm.
After last year's game, that place is going to be black and gold number one. CU fans, go canvas. They don't have the heads number one to sell it out. They don't take like beaver pelts as payment. So I don't know how you're going to get in. Or cow pies, but you can't go pick up cow shit and pay for it. So I don't know how you're going to get in up there in Fort Collins. But they're not going to go sell at their stadium. They never do. So CU people, go buy the tickets and go. Let's go fucking take canvas over. That's the only way that's acceptable from a fan base standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
But I look, I don't want fighting and shit, but I do know it's going to be extremely. The tension in that stadium and before and afterwards is going to be super real. People are going to be fucking real mad at each other.
Oh, yeah.
And the teams are real mad at each other. CU's got every reason to look at last year's game and go, we didn't play well, but we also underestimated them, and they're pretty fucking good. So now you have to get ready for a war coming off one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is not an easy slate to open with here.
No, first
so,
time.
Going to Lincoln and going to Fort Collins, having back-to-back. Last year, you got them at home and won both games in a rivalry setting. Now, you look at it now and you've got back-to-back heated rivalry games. You just want to make sure you're in the right headspace going into Colorado State. Right. So week 2 is about respect, but beating the shit out of a worthy opponent. All right. Week 3 is about fucking hate and hating the guy across from you and wanting to do everything humanly possible to just absolutely fucking annihilate him. And the respect factor, if they want respect, they need to show something. So, that's the difference between Nebraska and motherfucking Colorado State.
Right.
So when the sheep bob up in Fort Collins, we'll skin them, start 3-0. Baylor at home to start the Big 12. We're back in the Big 12. That's my stomping grounds. That's the conference I played in. It's not the same, obviously, but that Big 12 fucking logo on the buff uniform gave me goosebumps. I love seeing it. So it's your first Big 12 game back. They got Baylor at home. I think Baylor's a good football team. They're going to give them a run. That's 4-0. Okay. Mm-hmm. After Baylor, they go to UCF. This is a trip to Orlando. Okay. This is prime going back to Florida. Mm-hmm. And I think we're going to use that as a massive motivator. Okay. To get his team right and get his team motivated and get his team going. Like, look, we're going back to Florida. We're going back to my stomping grounds. Everybody that's on the team from Florida, all the kids in Florida, they're trying to recruit. This is a massive fucking game. The black and gold game, because UCF is black and gold.
Right.
So, look, I think UCF is a really good team. Gus Malzahn is good. I like the quarterback, the kid they got from Arkansas. Jefferson. He's a hell of a player. I like UCF, but I don't think CU falls to them. I think Colorado goes to UCF and wins, especially when watching them last year. We'll see. It could be a shootout. I wouldn't be surprised if there's tons of points scored in this game. But there's the ability for Shador and Travis and everybody to go down to Florida and, be in that thick humidity and go play, on that fast turf down there. That shit's, oh my, I can't wait to watch Travis Hunter play in Orlando. So that's 5-0. When you're 5-0 at that point in the season, you're going to be nationally ranked, and game day will be at Kansas State, Colorado. All right. Now, anybody that doesn't know anything about Colorado and all the just Coach Prime fans that hate me, I love you. Go Buffs. This is a massive rivalry. This is the team that we played for 100 years. Mm-hmm. They were in a division. Every year that I was there, if we beat Nebraska and Kansas State, we played for the North, or we played for the Big 12 title. If we lost Kansas State or Nebraska or both, we didn't go to a bowl game. Mm-hmm. And that's the way it went. So this is in Boulder. The Kansas State people are jacked up for this game. They are ready for. I just drove through Kansas. I actually, everywhere I stopped, I asked about it, especially in Manhattan, and they had something to say. I know the coaching staff there. They recruit the shit out of 6-0. Jake Stonebreaker just went to KSU. This is going to be a fucking dogfight, bro. Mm-hmm. All right, but game day in Boulder, I think CU gets the dub, but I think the Kansas State's going to be excellent next year as well. I love their quarterback. Yeah. So now they're what? Now they're 6-0, right?
6-0 heading into Arizona.
Arizona. Yeah. So last year, the Arizona game was a heartbreaker. They should have beat them at home. They lost 34-31. They couldn't stop the run. I think they go to Tucson. It's not the same Arizona team. They lost their coach and a ton of players. They beat They beat Arizona in Tucson. They're 7-0. All right, they got Cincinnati at home. That's the fucking the October 31st game, right? That's Halloween. Derek Wolf and I are actually going to be doing the podcast up there in Boulder, so we're going to go do it live up there. And Derek played at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's trying to find themselves in the Big 12. I don't think they have the horses to run with CU, especially on Halloween. That's going to be a fun weekend. So now you're sitting at 8-0 beating Cincinnati. Now, I'm sorry, but the next four people are going to get mad at me here. Okay, Lubbock, Texas, is a hard fucking place to win. And I think that they go to Lubbock and stub their toe, and that's an upset. And Coach McGuire has so much respect for Coach Prime, and they love each other. And it's just that's going to be a dogfight. And I've lost in Lubbock before. It's a fucking tough place to play. Like, what can I say about Lubbock, Texas that hasn't been said about Afghanistan? And then they come home and they play Utah, and until they beat Utah, until they line up and hit them in the mouth, I can't pick them.
Right.
So I think Utah beats them at home. Now they're sitting at 7-2 with 2 back-to-back losses. I think they go to Lawrence and beat Kansas, although I think Kansas is going to be really good. Mm-hmm. All right. Most people would probably flip the Texas Tech and Kansas losses.
Right.
But I think Kansas, that's going to be a get-right game where people are going to pick Kansas and think that Colorado's hitting the skids. And I think CU goes to Lawrence and gets a huge victory, and that puts them at 8-2, right? Yeah, 8-2.
8-2, headed into Mike Gundy in Oklahoma State.
And then that's the thing is now when they made this schedule, they did it right because they put rival-less Oklahoma State with rival-less Colorado, and Oklahoma State and Colorado again played each other for 100 fucking years. So the Big 8 and the Big 12, there's no love lost between Oklahoma State and Colorado. Now it was never really a rivalry. But it's a conference game. You're seeing each other all the time. Mm-hmm. So I think it's very smart to put these two teams there because if Colorado holds up their end of the deal, Oklahoma State's going to be ranked in the top 5 when they walk into Boulder here. All right, they're fucking loaded. They are really good up front. I love their running back. Everyone does, including the cops. And he is fast. They should love him up. Just if he's not going to get suspended, why give him a DUI? Actually, he shouldn't drive drunk. That was pretty fucked up. But still, he's not getting in trouble. They're going to be fucking rolling. They are really a good football team. Now, it would be I personally think this is how it's going to roll. If they do what we just said they're going to do we think Utah can get through the Big 12? And do you think that the Utah loss keeps them from the Big 12 title? So are they at this point, this is the question, are they playing Oklahoma State at this point of the season to go to the Big 12 title? If they win, they go. If they lose, Oklahoma State plays Utah.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you.
That's how I think about it right now. Looking at Utah's schedule, if somebody can trip them up, they lose to BYU because that's crazy as fuck all the time. And then, they lose another conference game, and all of a sudden CU lost to Utah and lost to Texas Tech, but somehow Utah can't get in or whatever.
Yeah.
I think they beat Oklahoma State at home on Senior Day, and they're 9-2, and then they get a chance at Utah in the Big 12 title game, and the whole Big 12 is looking at the two teams that came from the Pac-12 playing for the conference title.
That'd be wild.
I would not be surprised if that happens at all. So at the same time, though, if Oklahoma State wins this game in Boulder, I wouldn't be surprised if Utah loses against BYU at the end of the season, and then CU gets to go play Oklahoma State again in the Big 12 title game, and then beats Oklahoma State for the Big 12 title.
Yeah.
So a lot of people gave Coach Prime a ton of shit when he put the Big 12 title game on the schedule. I think it's fucking genius. That's where we want to go. Okay. Look, there's this. I have a picture of it somewhere. I'll try and find it for tomorrow's show. But we carried around this model of Dallas Stadium in 2001 when I played at CU. And we were coming off a 3-8 season, and everybody thought it was a fuck. Like the reporters, when we showed it to them at the media day, they were laughing at us. Like, you guys actually think you're going to get to Dallas? You suck. And they of course, they were laughing at us. We sucked the year before. But our whole team was coming back. Our quarterback coming back. We had great skill players. Our O&D lines were a lot better the next year, kind of similar to what I'm looking at in Boulder right now.
Right.
All right. And when I saw the Big 12 title game at the bottom of the schedule, it reminded me of this because every time we won a conference game that year, we took the sticker from the team we beat and put it on that model. And it's still sitting in the team room up in Boulder. You can see it right when you walk in. It's right next to the Big 12 title trophy. But every week we would it's like Major League where, Rachel Phelps is up there talking shit about the team. And Coach Lou Brown just goes up in there. Every time we win, we peel a section. And that's what we were doing. We were peeling a fucking section every week. You don't think we can do it? Peel the section. You don't think we can do it? Peel the section. And they got to the point where you're sitting there the last game of the year, CU Nebraska for a chance to go to the Big 12 title game, and you got to peel one more section and you're to the prize. So for them to put that on there, that's what it reminded me of. This is going to be a motivated group, bro. So don't be surprised when they're sitting there 10-2, ranked 8th, Big 12 champs or Big 12 runner-up, and they're going, even if they are runner-ups, I bet you we could get them into the 12th seed as an at-large because who doesn't want Coach Prime in the playoff?
Right.
I think they go 10-2, 11-2, 11-2 best, 10-3 worst, and they make the playoff either by an at-large to win the Big 12 or they're the 12th seed loser of the Big 12 title game.
Right.
Now, people are going to say I'm biased, and I'm 100% fucking biased. You are correct. I absolutely want CU to win every game, and I'm looking at this from a homer mentality. What do you think I'm going to do? Get up here and actually pick them to lose these fucking games to these jump-ass schools? Nah, dog. I'm not picking them to go undefeated, but I'm telling you, they're going to be really, really fucking good.
Okay. No, I hear you, man. And look, the one thing I will say is I didn't play at Colorado, I didn't play in the NFL. But one thing I will say is if they can upgrade their offensive line and defensive line play, the trenches, you know what I'm saying? I'm wearing my O-line shirt, feet and finish
Right.
today. You know what I'm saying? Let me ask you, if they have they really improved that offensive line? Do you really see them, being able to line up and run the ball on Kansas State, Kansas, Cincinnati, these Big 12 teams?
I do. I think that they're going to improve by a yard. I think that last year where they're averaging 3 yards a carry, I think they're going to average 4 yards a carry. If you improve by a yard, it changes things significantly, okay? And then also their pass protection has improved a ton. The offensive scheme is more conducive to protecting Shedeur. His reads are a little bit different, and his skill players. His last year's group of skill players was outstanding. This year's group of skill players is nuts. I mean, I know that nobody thinks we have a tight end, but Sam Hart is a kid here from Cherokee Trail that went to Ohio State and transferred in. I think he can block. I think he's a good receiver. I'd like to see him get the ball a little bit. Yeah, man, I think that the offensive line is going to be the catalyst. Like Jordan Seaton may be a freshman, and I know that I've been hard on young guys, and everybody is. He's got to go prove it. It's a man's game, but he's a grown-ass man. I mean, he just is. I don't think he's going to have a problem at all. And then the other 4 guys, I think you could play 6. So I really like what they did. Phil Lodeholt, their offensive line coach, I'm actually going to meet with him this week. He just got back from vacation. They're recruiting a bunch of kids in the room. So we're going to go have a nice recruiting meeting and talk about a bunch of different shit. So I think Coach Lodeholt has got his guys really tuned in as well. It's Phil's first job, but he's a multi-year veteran and came from Bill Beatonbaugh's coaching tree, and Beatonbaugh is about as good as it gets. He's offensive line coach at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's offered multiple guys in the gym. Breck and Deacon are both offered by Oklahoma right now, and Josh Bates is their starting center. He's one of our guys. So we have a great relationship with them. So I know exactly what we're going to get. I mean, you couldn't find a better fit for the offensive line room this year than Coach Lodeholt. So don't be surprised if they're fighting to keep Phil on the coaching staff next year, because so many people are going to be like, wow, look at how much they improved. Look at the recruits they're getting. Like, we got to fucking go coach. We got to go steal Coach Lodeholt from CU. Right. And then that's what you want. If you don't have people going after your assistants suck.
True. Man, I look forward this season. I think I agree with you. You said the O-line is the catalyst. I 100% agree with you. If their O-line is legit and they can line up and run the ball on these Big 12 teams, man, they're going to be scary. But transitioning here, your guy Mike Sanford actually said on an interview that Jarrett Stidham Jarrett Stidham is better than Bo Nix. Take a listen here.
Bo Nix be? I know that you've coached up against him before. I'd never thought he was going to be the 12th overall pick in the draft, but Sean fell in love with him.
Yeah, I think there are some similarities to Drew Brees that maybe he doesn't have the absolute howitzer attached to his right shoulder, but he is a very, very good coachable type of a player. I would even call him programmable, and I think that's what Sean Payton wanted after the Russell Wilson experience. I don't think he liked all the second play, creative playmaking that Russell Wilson brought to the table. But I went to 4 OTA practices, mini camp, and I have my questions about Bo Nix. He hasn't really separated at all from Jarrett Stidham. Like Jarrett Stidham right now looks like the best option at quarterback if you just looked at what happened on the field at OTAs and minicamp.
Man, so there you have it. I wanted to ask you as a former Bronco, obviously you and Mike are very close. I wanted to get your take as to what you've heard so far coming out of Broncos camp on their quarterback situation. Jarrett Stidham, Bo Nix, obviously you got the Mile High MILF Hunter from Denver as well. Just wanted to get your take on what you've heard so far.
Zach Wilson's getting married. Idiot. All right, Zach Stidham. Look, I like Stidham, or Jarrett Stidham, excuse me. I like Stidham. He's not probably going to start for very long over Bo Nix. I don't think the Broncos, and you can receipt this, I don't think they're going to be as bad as people think they are. It's just the way the NFL works, man. Look, Coach Sanford, my guy Mike, doesn't really like Bo Nix in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Not personally, didn't like his game. I thought it was a little bit of a stretch to pick him at 12, but look, if he doesn't start, I think it's a waste. It's a waste of time. Like, look, if Jarrett Stidham goes in and starts fucking routing it and just throwing for 300 yards a game and 3 touchdowns, and he looks like, fucking Aaron Rodgers and shit when he was young, then yeah, he's going to play. I mean, what are we talking about? But if it's just 18 for 30 for 180 yards and a touchdown and a pick, they're, the yards per completion is low and he's missing reads and he's missing throws, you're going to go to the rookie quick. So he may not look as good as Stidham in camp. That very well could be. The team around him is not very good either, so that doesn't help either guy. I think Zach Wilson probably has the strongest arm. Stidham knows knows the most from an experience standpoint, even though Wilson has more starts. I think Stidham, even though people are like, well, he's only started 4 games. Yeah, but he's been on the bench watching for a long time, and you can learn a lot from watching, whereas Wilson's been on the field failing and not learning. So I don't know. I think Nix should be the starter. But, the Broncos have got to figure this out, man. It has been quarterback purgatory for 10 years.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. And let me ask you, you've come on JB's show the last year and talked about the Broncos' offensive line struggles. I believe that if any quarterback's going to have success in Denver, they got to have at least a decent offensive line to play behind. Do you think that their offensive line will be improved at all from last season for these new quarterbacks, or no?
They'll probably be the same. I mean, they got the same dudes. They're replacing the center with a lesser player. I don't know who's going to get the start there. Probably the Forsythe kid that they drafted from Oregon. But Quinn Miners is a stud, the right guard. He's one of the best in the business. Other than that, though, the other 3 guys are guys. Powers is good. He's a guy, high-priced guy. McGlinchey is good, but he's a guy, high-priced. And Bowles is good, but he's a guy and high-priced. So you got a lot of money wrapped up in 3 players there, and you got to pay a 4th. I don't see any way, shape, or form that McGlinchey, Powers, or Bowles is back after this season. I think after this year, all 3 of those guys are gone.
They pay McGlinchey a lot of money.
They paid all 3 of them a ton. So, they were riding on the fact that they had a highly, a skilled, high-paid offensive line in front of Russell Wilson, and all of them are going to be gone before you can fucking flip a coin.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
The NFL means not for long, homie.
Yeah. Shoot. Yeah, I hear you, man. I don't know how the Broncos will do in their division. I mean, they got Harbaugh back in the NFL now. I think the Chargers are going to be formidable. I think Denver will struggle. I don't know who will be at quarterback, Stidham or Bo Nix. I think they'll probably eventually roll with the rookie. I think you drafted him at really, really high, higher than a lot of people would. So for them to sit him won't be a shock to me. But man, yeah, what do you think? Who do you think will end up starting week one? Week one,
Bo
take
Nix.
the
Just start the rookie and get it over with. I mean, we got to figure out if he can play. There's no more of this like we're going to just give him a chance to learn shit because your team around him isn't good enough. And, you know, Sean Payton has a 3-14 year or some shit. People are going to be calling for his head. So, like, he won't be here long enough to develop. No one will be. Mm-hmm. So they got to figure out how to win some games and, like, give somebody – if you have a quality quarterback and you have a team that struggles around a young quarterback, we can have some hope that if we just fix the rest of the team, we got a quarterback. Mm-hmm. But if you have a good team and no quarterback, you are fucked. Like it doesn't matter what you do a lot of the time. You could get to the playoffs, you could win some games, but in reality, it's going to come down to we don't have a guy that can win in our system at the quarterback position. So they've got to find that guy and hope to God that Bo Nix is that guy.
No, I 100% agree with you, man. 100%. I think we saw that with San Francisco. I think we saw, they get all the way close to taking out the Chiefs dynasty, and I think their quarterback let them down. I believe you said something similar on JB's show a few months back. But, man, I think it's been a hell of a show so far. First show. Tomorrow we'll be back talking all Colorado Buffaloes, man. Shoot. Any closing thoughts from you?
Everybody just go check out 60equipment.com. Everything we do there. 60academy.com. Everything we do there. We're going to be doing a bunch of stuff on the recruiting side of 60, showing how we do things and what we do here moving forward, just to open up that door for people so people can kind of see behind the veil a little bit. But look, go on Spotify, download and listen to the show. YouTube, like and subscribe. The chat, the super chats and the subs are open all the time. Nick needs shoes, so come on, let's go. This Hawaii trip is expensive. But yeah, man, it's going to be a great year. I'm looking forward to it. Bailey, good job today, brother, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Sounds good. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.